Biofriendly Podcast. It's the Biofriendly Podcast.
He tends to talk to people from up there where there's no microphone. I have a conversation as if
I don't know how technology works.
Then everybody complains, and he never learns.
You would not believe the complaint box that I get here at Biofriendly Podcast.
It's just
so full, brimming.
Do people really complain about that?
No. Everything we say is jokes, and nothing can be taken seriously.
I complain about it.
No, but seriously, do people complain about like, oh, we couldn't hear you, we couldn't hear Jacob today, or something like that?
Actually, you know what? Early on in the podcast, because we have a Facebook group, Twitter, and whatnot, we kept asking people. We kept asking people when we were working out the kinks of the show. We would ask people.
I don't think that I'm loud enough. I think that you can hear Jacob and not me, because Jacob's got a more lustrous, vibrant, booming voice.
Thank you.
And so I would complain.
I was wondering how you were going to do that, because you could have gone really passive aggressive on that one.
Yeah,
well,
no.
I will later.
Oh, he will. He's warming up
it.
He's warming up to it.
I'll absolutely get passive aggressive. But no, yeah. So he does, and it is lustrous. You do have a booming, lustrous voice. It's a beautiful voice, but it's loud. And I'm not. I can be loud. I can do it.
Oh, you can.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I believe in me.
I believe in you too.
But generally, so I always ask him to turn me up. Yeah.
Well,
I'm going to see if I can pull the loudness out of you.
There it is.
I'm going to see if I can get that.
You want to get Noel shouting by the end of the podcast. That's a great goal.
Exactly.
Just get me angry. You would like me when I'm angry. I'm the opposite of the Hulk.
Yes. You would like me when I'm angry.
I'm going to get you angry at plastic. I'll get you angry at plastic pollution, and I'll get you pumped up to save the dolphins.
I love this.
All right, so
he already introduced himself. Like, that's the best way to set up our guest. He gave us some hype. And so we're going to welcome, guys, to the Biofriendly Podcast. Today we are welcoming Rob Koenen from Boxed Water. And I saw his little mug get raised up there that said Boxed Water on it, which is awesome.
There it is.
I have my box of water.
You got him right there.
Wow.
So welcome to the Biofriendly Podcast, Rob. We're glad that Rob is okay, right? Robert, any preference?
Oh my God, yes.
Bobby, old boy, old pal.
Great.
Yeah.
Just don't call me late for dinner.
Yes, I love it. Where are we talking to you at right now? Where are you at?
Address, please, so that we can.
Yes, we have to send our environmental team.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I've got plenty of water. Come on by. I'll hydrate you. Yeah. We're a little company out of Grand Rapids, Michigan, which is on the other west coast, the west coast of Michigan.
That's
a great area.
Wonderful.
Are you guys familiar with it at all?
Yes, absolutely. I've been to Grand Rapids.
We shot a movie up in Wisconsin, so we've had some time scouting around, playing around up in the Midwest and by the Great Lakes, and dancing around. I've been to, I haven't been to Grand Rapids. The closest I've been is Detroit. Yeah. But we love we love we love that whole area up there. It's just so beautiful. So crazy, man. The lake effect is something else. We were there in the winter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Oh, that's a bad,
rough time. Rough time, right?
Wait, we're in Wisconsin. I'm from Wisconsin. I'm from Milwaukee.
Washburn and Superior.
Washburn and Superior was where we shot.
And then also in Minnesota and Duluth, right across the bay there.
Yeah.
Oh man, so that was cold and
it was
snowy.
Very cold. We shot in November for 3 weeks, and when we timed it, we were told that if we got it before Thanksgiving, we'd beat the snow for the most part, but boy, they were wrong.
They said maybe a couple drizzles here and there, but it doesn't really kick in until you get right around Thanksgiving.
It was a polar vortex, and we got 21, 22 inches in one night.
Yeah.
Holy macaroni.
I think that was the time when they had 6 feet over the 3 days, right?
Yeah,
I think
it was unbelievable.
And I think that was the same storm that covered Buffalo with like 12 feet of snow or something.
Oh my gosh. That's cool though. You got to see it full on.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, we did.
Well, and what's neat is we've been up there in the fall too, because when you do these things, you scout and you look at a lot of different places to see where you want to go. And fall up there is
gorgeous.
Unreal.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
it's like there's trees as far as the eye can see, and all of them are different
beautiful
colors of golden amazingness.
Oh my God. Yeah, we just went through that here, and it is one of the most beautiful times of year. To be honest, 9 months out of the year, actually nowadays 10 months out of the year, this
Thanks
is America's best kept secret.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's gorgeous here. So I lived in Santa Barbara for a while, and that's gorgeous. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it is.
Nice. Yeah.
But we actually moved back to Grand Rapids because we liked it so much, and also it's far less crowded. Like we went to Tahoe as a vacation spot, and the whole time we were there, it's packed with people, and it's beautiful. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But you can have the same experience here, but with no crowds and no line. I mean, you get to really see the nature.
That's awesome.
Don't tell anybody, but
I won't tell a soul.
I promise you, nobody is going to listen to the podcast.
Nobody's going to hear this except for the thousands of people that do.
Yeah.
But my wife is originally from the Chicago suburbs, so I get back to Illinois usually at least once a year. Before all this, pandemic madness, we probably won't be getting back there anytime soon. But I'm very familiar with that part of the country. And it is gorgeous over there. So we love it.
Yeah. Nice. So you're enjoying it.
So I'm glad we had this talk on travel.
Yes. Thanks for tuning in this week on Tales of the Midwest.
Yeah.
No,
Exactly.
Rob joins us from Boxed Water, and for the audience who doesn't know what Boxed Water is, it's what's the sales pitch of what it is?
Yeah, no, so the official name is Boxed Water is Better.
That is the full name. That's right.
That is the full name. It's like Coca-Cola and Coke. So Boxed Water is Better is the full name.
Right.
And then we're also known just as Boxed Water.
Right.
And the whole concept is that we were the first national company to offer a sustainable alternative to plastic water bottles or water that comes in cans. And so we make very pure water, but we do it in the most sustainable way. You can't replant oil wells or oil that makes plastic, and you can't put aluminum back into the planet. So you can't, but at the same time you can plant trees. So our product is 92% plant-based, and we're constantly. So that's the difference between sustainability or renewability and recyclability, is that our product is actually both. It's 100% recyclable, but it's also 92% made from renewable products.
Very cool.
That's fantastic.
So that's the concept. And then the name is carefully chosen. So Boxed Water is Better is the name because we always humbly say that refillable is the best. So you should be walking around with your Swell bottle or your Yeti and refilling. But right now there's 69 billion bottles being made every year. So that's like a million. By the time we have this conversation, there'll probably be another million that's made.
Wow.
And so I would love to be out of a job in 5 years. Until 69 billion bottles aren't being made every year, and only 10% of them are actually being recycled. You should be choosing paper over plastic. And it's just one of those little baby steps to helping the planet.
Yeah, it's a major one. Plastic. We talk actually quite a bit about plastic on this show, just about the. The original purpose of plastic was actually as an environmental positive, right? It's like to replace so many other conservation issues that were going on with other things that were used, that they replaced with plastic. But then, the efficiency, the old efficiency of capitalism,
became single use.
Well, that's where plastic is a great material in the sense of you can make it for it's cheap and it's durable. So you should make it for things that need to be cheap and durable, like chairs, like things that last.
Yeah.
But to use, I always joke that so you drink on average you drink a bottle of water in less than 10 minutes. So that's the average time. And a plastic bottle right now, it's estimated, will last in our world for 700 years before it breaks down.
Yeah.
So we always joke about the fact that literally if Christopher Columbus was drinking out of a plastic bottle and threw it over, it would still be in the environment right now. It'd be just breaking down.
Yeah.
So think about that. That's 700 years ago.
Yeah.
It's dramatic, and it's just gotten out of control, and nobody saw it getting to be this bad. And frankly, it's weird. People are kind of plastic blind in the sense of it. Until I was here, I've been here for about 5 years. Until I was here, I was just like everybody else. I'd walk down a grocery aisle and I wouldn't think twice about it. Now I step back and look at a grocery aisle and you just see plastic everywhere. Yeah. And you go, my God, and this is just one store. There's 140,000 stores like this across the nation. Yeah. So anyway, I don't want to rant and rave, but
no, that's what you're here to do.
So is that how you got into this?
Because the only other thing I'll say that people don't think about is that as the plastic is degrading in that 700 years, it starts to resemble jellyfish and it starts to resemble other aquatic life. And that's when birds and whales and sea life eat it. And then they think they're full and they end up starving to death with full bellies. So eight whales died last year with full bellies because they were full of plastic. And so that's all. I don't want to stay on the doom and gloom, but that's
what we're about. Actually, that's our slogan. It says more doom and gloom, please.
No, we do have this section called the bummer run. So that would be the technical.
That was it. You did
that was the bummer run. We did it.
That would be the bummer run.
That's the bummer run.
But the good news is that there's an alternative, and the even better news is that people who are age 25 to 45 are aware of the problem, and more than ever, people are stepping up and making a change. So I see big hope in the future.
That is our kind of belief. It's the reason that we do this podcast every week. Is our thought is that the more people we talk to, and the more people we sort of just kind of lightly introduce concepts to, the more that it's likely that people might make a small change, make a little adjustment.
Small adjustments.
Yeah. And I think you're right. I think over time we can solve this thing, and it's good to see there's companies like yours coming up with other options, and I like that it's very modern of you to say, well, my business is not the solution. It's kind of a stopgap or a helper, which is it's refreshing to hear that.
Yeah.
How did you get into this? Like, what happened that made you just decide I'm going to go turn this whole thing into a box system instead of a plastic system?
Well, I won't take credit for coming up with the idea. I wish I did. Someone much smarter than I did. About 10 years ago, a couple of young millennials were going to Lollapalooza, and we're going to a lot of festivals. And they saw, at the end of the concert, you look around and there's a sea of plastic everywhere.
Right.
And one of the guys actually also worked in the logistics business, and after a wild weekend at Lollapalooza, headed back to his job and saw the stacks of plastic and just thought there's got to be a better way. Us being from the Midwest and being within the dairy state, the natural solution was, why can't we just put it in a carton of water? Or in a milk carton. So that was the first round way back when. It was in milk cartons, and believe me, it was hilarious because it smelled bad. It looked because milk cartons are different than the cartons that we use because you still need a lining to block the smell and the block taste. If you were to put a milk carton next to a can of tuna, you don't taste it in the milk, but you would taste it in the water. So there were a lot of adjustments that had to be made over the year. I started about 5 years ago. I had worked on a number of different jobs in the lifestyle business. So I worked at Timberland and at UGG and other, fashion footwear companies, and had a long, great career and ended up being presidents of some of these brands. And at a certain point in your career, you step back and say, well, I've done what I was supposed to do. I've had my corporate life. Now what can I do to help? And it really was my daughter who kind of pulled my ear and said, hey, well, there's this cool company in Grand Rapids that you should know about. And luckily, I didn't realize this, but a friend, 2 degrees of separation, a friend who I'd done some work with is actually one of the founders. And I didn't realize because he'd done so many different things that this was one of his little projects going on. And so I called him and I said, what do you got going? Let's see what we can do together. And he said, I have the coolest little brand that we have not told enough stories about. Can you help us tell the story?
Well, that's great. That's great. Yeah, I've experienced box water out in the wild. Box water is better out in the wild. Now this is.
Can we use the short name?
Please do.
His mouth is going to break.
It's going to break.
If he says box water is better
every single time,
I just don't know what'll happen.
Box water's better. Box water's better. It'll be a good warm up. That'll be a good warm up before
Unique
podcast.
New York.
Unique New York. Box water's better. But
the Human Torch needs a bank loan.
Yeah, the Human Torch needs a bank
needs a bank loan. Well played, sir.
Oh, I love that you referenced the Ron Burgundy warm-ups. Those are one of my favorites.
Scotch.
Yeah, no, this is the section of the show where Jacob does a Hollywood name drop.
Yes,
okay? Hollywood name drop. Okay,
What do you got?
My experience with boxed water was at a premiere here in Hollywood. I went to the premiere of Living with Yourself, the Netflix series with Paul Rudd, and all the water at the premiere was boxed water.
That is so cool.
So that was my first time.
Paul Rudd.
Yeah, it was the premiere of this thing.
Yeah.
Thank you for the horn section accompanying that. It was very Hollywood. But I had seen boxed water containers, but I had never, I don't think I'd ever had one before. But the only thing that they were offering at this event was the boxed water, and the first thought was, I was like, that's so Hollywood. That's so Hollywood.
You know what that is?
Like,
you got to take some pride in that. You've managed to make it it's very. I think it's pretty trendy in Hollywood, actually. It's kind of
very hip, and I think it's a common thing that's used at a lot of premier social events, especially before COVID. But like people here are very aware that bottled water does not look good. It doesn't look good. It's kind of a PR nightmare. And so boxed water is a way that you can serve those individual waters to people and not feel like they don't like that I'm doing this. You know what I mean? So
could Paul Rudd taste the tuna?
I think he could probably taste the tuna. I don't know. A gentleman.
I'm just kidding. It doesn't anymore.
Just to be clear, we now have award-winning tasting water. We've won awards.
It's true. It's true.
That's so cool, though.
Yeah.
Well, it's wild to me because you're right. I call us Fiji without the guilt. Because Fiji is a high end. It used to be a status symbol, but we're Fiji without all the guilt. You're not killing the planet.
I like that. That is great. What has the journey been like? Because I would imagine that. I mean, look, we took. I don't want to get conspiracy, but there's definitely. We talked last week about Big Banana. So
is Big Bottle after you?
Is Big Bottle? Is there Big Water?
Oh, yeah.
Is there Big Soda? Are there big?
We call it. We call it Big Soda. Big Soda's all over us.
Yeah.
Well, it's crazy. Well, I'll step back. There's Big Soda. There's Big Grocery.
Yeah.
So Big Soda's totally all over us. So Aquafina and Dasani are owned by Coke and Pepsi.
Right. Sure.
And frankly, water has overtaken soft drink sales for the last 3 years. Yeah. So people are thinking healthy. They're thinking hydration. Definitely. And frankly, the sugar water, nobody's drinking. I mean, who do you know that drinks full flavored Coke anymore?
I mean, I don't drink.
I definitely don't buy it in secret and drink in the closet.
I never drink full flavored Coke.
When we do, though, we do when we have Coca-Cola. I do feel like I'm doing something that I'm going to get shamed for.
Do you want to know something? I kind of love it. I feel naughty.
It is naughty. It's naughty to drink Coca-Cola.
I'll have a Coke and I'll be like, this is so tasty and it's so bad for me.
I can't even drink it anymore because I'm not used to it. And you get to be my age, it's diabetes in a bottle. So I can't touch that stuff.
Sure.
But, I'm only worried about today.
You guys are fine. You're still young.
No, I'm kidding. Go on with Big Soda. I want to hear more.
Oh, so they basically, if we'll go to a zoo and aquarium, for example, or they'll come to us half the time. And we'll say, okay, here you can get our product, and here's the pricing and everything, and our pricing is pretty competitive. And unfortunately, they'll say, we love you, we love your message. Clearly, we're a zoo and aquarium, so we want to be sustainable. Coke just built this whole exhibit over here for us for $8 million. Can you kind of match?
No.
So we only get our water in your place if we build you an exhibit.
$8 million, and you can't blame them because zoos and aquariums. I mean,
they need it.
In a practical sense, they're not making a ton of money, so they're looking for money any way they can.
Right.
So no, we run into that roadblock all the time. The other roadblock that when you talk about disruptor brands, you never really think of the individual. And so I had a great conversation with the buyer, the beverage buyer at a major grocery chain that will remain unmentioned. But think of the local grocery store in your.
Sure, he's talking about Safeway. So no, I'm just kidding.
A local.
Yeah.
And this person, and so I had done my homework. We were going in to sell boxed water, and I had done my homework, and there was a whole thing on their website about sustainability and helping the environment and all this stuff. And I said, so we fit right into your main message that you guys are becoming more sustainable. Yeah. And he said, he did all his numbers, he looked at all this stuff, and he said, Rob, I'm gonna tell you, I'm just gonna be honest with you. I like you, I like your product. So my daughter's college tuition requires on me getting my bonus. Yeah. Plastic in the plastic aisle generates 80% of my bonus. It's 20% of my shelf space. It's 80% of my profit. Wow. And having you on my shelf, number one, I'm gonna have to take a plastic bottle off to put you on. And already that's gonna hurt my margin. Number two, it's gonna remind my customers that plastic is bad. That's the last thing I want them to think. Wow. So, and I said, well, what about the main message? I said, yeah, I know corporate's gonna write a check to Greenpeace and let them do that. That's fine. Check the box.
Well, we're going to do a whole thing on Greenpeace.
But I need to pay my daughter. I need to pay for my daughter's tuition, and that's what it comes down to. And that was a remarkable moment for me. It was an aha moment to go, wow, when you're taking on any industry that's so ingrained. It really comes down to the human aspect of, am I going to be able to pay for my daughter?
My kids, yeah. I am so glad you'd shared that story, because that really speaks to me, and this is me being sincere. Jokes aside, there's a lot of people that listen to this show that we've won over that environmentalism is kind of overwhelming, and it seems too much, and a lot of this space makes everything about being green and environmentalism black or white. It's like this way or that way. You do the right thing or you're bad, right? That was an example of a working American, like a guy who's got a family and he's just trying to do the best he can to sort things out for his family. And of course he'd love to do what would be the right thing, but he's got a lot of other things that he has to face, and how complex that is. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's not as easy as world. Yeah, that's the world we live in. Yeah. You can't wag your finger at a guy who runs a grocery store and say, well, you should be doing more for the planet. He's just trying to get by, exactly. And there are a lot bigger forces at play that make it very difficult to change. So I thought that was really cool.
It's a very human thing. You can't fault the guy.
Yeah.
Because, but then my takeaway
can.
You can fault the guy. Judge away, Noel. Yeah.
By the way, here's his name and his email address.
Yeah. Let's go dox him. Oh my gosh.
That's what I got to figure out. But my takeaway was, and actually, so this was a couple years ago and it's starting to come our way, is you're right. And he said, I look at my numbers and my plastic numbers are pretty good. So why do you think anybody really cares about this? And so the good news is my takeaway as a marketer was, all right, I got to get more consumers to ask, because he's not going to do anything until somebody's asking for it, and the consumer wants
right.
it.
If it doesn't affect his bonus and his child going to college, then he'll do it.
Yeah.
Right. So now if you go to a Whole Foods now, you'll see sustainability, because consumers are starting to say, I don't want plastic. I had you alluded to it earlier, and I love it. We had a company, Rag and Bone sells clothing, high-end fashionable clothing, and they give out water at their stores, and they were giving out little plastic bottles. And the head of marketing and head of operations called us and said, literally handing somebody a plastic bottle, they're reacting as if we're handing them a pack of cigarettes.
Right.
They're physically backing up, saying, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
And he said, and so that is the consumer leading this effort, and so they came to us and said, we need to change, and we need to change fast.
Yeah.
So it's slowly happening. Whole Foods, it's happening. And it'll just, I look at it like smoking. 20 years ago, a lot of people smoked. There's a lot fewer now. And you do get looked at kind of sideways, saying, hey, you should know better. I'm hoping that in 5-10 years, well, hell, I'm hoping that by next year, people, when you're drinking out of a plastic bottle, people go, you should know better. There's something better for you to do.
Yeah, totally. And hey, look, that is the direction the world's going in. I mean, it's going in your direction. It'll be in your favor. But here's a question that you might not even be allowed to answer. I don't know.
This is what
we like to do. We like to Biofriendly podcast. We like to ask questions that get you in trouble.
The fastest land mammal is the cheetah.
Oh, okay. Fair. Okay, he did it.
All right, you're up, Jacob.
I'm anticipating your question, and I'm going right at it. I'm going hardcore.
And so then then gazelles outrun them because they're faster when they go side to side than a cheetah is.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
They're sprinters.
Yes, they can go. So yes, cheetah goes faster directly. So the gazelle gets them when they get closer. They start going side to side because they're faster in that direction. And they can pull away from the cheetah if they can get him to go side to side.
The things you learn on this show are mind blowing.
Yeah. Or her or them.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. By the way, that was my movie reference. That was Airplane, the 1978.
Love that movie.
Classic. Yeah. Absolute classic. Absolute classic.
Surely you can't be serious.
Yeah. Don't call me Shirley.
Don't ever call me Shirley.
Exactly.
Go on with your controversial question.
Oh,
you
yes,
did.
I have a question for you.
You have a controversial one. Yeah.
So when the tide turns and everybody is drinking from boxed waters, how are you guys going to stay ahead of Coke and Pepsi when they decide they're going to put their bottles in boxes? Or do you just not care? Are you just happy that we've saved the planet?
You answered your own question. That's exactly it. People have asked me that, and I've always said the same thing. I'm like, that would be awesome. Yeah, we would have no problem with that. And frankly, we would call ourselves the little RC Cola. So if there's room for Coke and Pepsi in this world, there's also room for Dr. Pepper and RC Cola and all these little guys. There's plenty of room in the beverage industry for all of us.
Yeah.
So I would consider it a big win. I've actually talked to executives at some of the major big soda companies and said, "You guys go for it because you could do this in a minute."
They really could.
And that validates us. That's not a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and it's interesting. I mean, when you read that the sustainability officer at Coke is saying that they're not going to switch because people don't want it, people aren't asking for it. I'm just like, how could that be?
I don't think so.
I mean, so it could be a while. I think you may be alone in the market for a minute.
I think we're going to be okay. Yeah. It is such groupthink. Because I saw that article too, and it boggles my mind, but it doesn't boggle my mind in the sense of, so I used to work at a company called Rollerblade, back in the 90s.
I have a pair of rollerblades today. I do. I go rollerblading with my kids get on their bicycles, and then I rollerblade after them.
Can
That's
confirm.
so cool.
Noel loves rollerblading.
I am the biggest nerd you've ever seen in your life.
You are a nerd. That's totally.
I rip around and I even wear my knee pads and
his fanny pack
and my helmet. I am an absolute dork, but I'm really good at it.
Yes, he is.
Well, and it's great exercise.
Oh, it's awesome. At the end
of the day.
Yeah. Well, and I think people don't realize how fun it is when you're going downhill. And you work your tail off to get up, but then on the way down, it's like skiing. It's awesome.
It is totally like that's what it's training for skiing.
Yeah,
because you get that whole motion going, and it's a blast. Would you know what skates you have? What kind?
I have macro blades.
I did the macro blade.
That's you?
Oh, that's
you did the macro blade.
Do you have actually, I should ask. Do you have
they are new.
Do you have the old gray ones or the new ones? I did the old gray ones.
They're new because I bought them. I did have.
So that's like the Ford Taurus. They brought the name back because it was such a big. Because it was such a popular name.
Yeah. No, I had the step up from that. I forgot the name of it. From when I was younger and I was a kid, Christmas, I got the best ones. It was all like, it was a big thing when I was like 14. Yeah. But now, now I've got to worry about children and, college and things that we've been talking about. So,
exactly.
So I just
have to buy plastic.
Yes.
Yeah. But for the sake of the show, we're going to pretend that they were the ones he handmade and you have them. Yes. That's what we're going to pretend because this is a great moment where we cue the music and everybody goes reunited and it feels so good.
Yeah. And we'll edit it out. Yeah. Well, but my point was is way back then, we made plastic boots, and a company called K2, which was a ski company, and Salomon, they came out with what's called soft skates, which were soft. Yeah. They're fabric on top with ankle support. Mm-hmm. And everybody at Rollerblade said it'll never work because we tried them and the ankle support wasn't good enough, and ours was so much better. And you fast forward 10 years and everybody was skating in K2s, and we ended up coming out with a soft skate because it was good enough for the consumer.
Right.
And the consumer's like, and so we knew too much about our product. We weren't thinking the way the consumer was thinking.
Right.
So that's where I'm sitting back thinking, these Coke guys are all sitting in their offices and in their boardrooms, and they're not in touch with what the consumer is actually saying. When they sit back and say, we're not going to change because consumer doesn't want it, they're totally missing
what the consumer actually wants.
Yes.
What the consumer wants. And frankly, you look at and I don't want to bash them, but you look at some of these old school companies, and it's not just Coke and it's not just the beverage industry, and they're advertising like they always used to. They don't understand what the new consumer wants.
Right.
So, when I was growing up and doing marketing, the successful marketer, found Cindy Crawford, created a beautiful photo shoot, and with an aspirational lifestyle. And if I drink this, or if I wear these shoes, I will be like Michael Jordan, right?
Sure.
Like nowadays, the consumers have been so over marketed to, and that they're going, I want to know what you as a company believe in. I don't care about the pretty pictures. What I care about is, does your product perform, and what are you doing with my money? And by the way, I can go on social media, I can listen to Biofriendly, I can find out more and more about each one of these companies than ever. And you have to show that, hey, we're an authentic company, you can trust us, and here's what we're doing with your money. And I always use the example of Patagonia. Like I buy Patagonia because it's a great product, but I also know they take a stand for the environment like no other company.
Yeah.
So I'm giving them, and you talk to any consumer that's under the age of 50, that's how they're evaluating how they're voting with their dollars. And it's beautiful.
That's tomorrow.
Beautiful.
That's tomorrow. That's
it really is.
It's a new world. It's I think that just after an election where we're all beating the heck out of each other, and there's a little bit of shaming and good fun out there. You don't quite realize it, but I think that when we step back and look at the world generally, not in an election year, that people are getting better. They are getting.
They want that thing that's going to be good for the planet.
Yeah.
They want that.
They really are. They really are. I think that we lose our minds sometimes, particularly in 2020. But
especially when you lock us inside for 9 months. Yeah.
This is crazy. Talk about going stir crazy. This is the definition of it on a countrywide scale. Well, worldwide scale.
Worldwide. Yeah.
Holy mackerel.
Yeah. Is there anything that, speaking of, you mentioned Patagonia, is there anything that Box Water really champions in terms of, getting into the green causes? Do you guys get involved in charities and foundations and stuff like that?
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned that, because that's the other thing when you ask about us, the other thing I always talk about is our reforestation efforts.
That's
how many? Because we're counting the trees.
We're counting trees. That's what we offer as our service. We're not planting them. We're just counting them. So we're going to count your trees.
You can count my trees.
Yeah.
We have planted over 1 million trees in our national forest.
Write it down.
Shirley.
Write it down.
Shirley, Shirley, you met her from Airplane. Yeah, Shirley, could you please add those to the...
This is like the Labor Day telethon.
Yes.
I'm Rob Koenen, and I'm here to give you 1 million trees. Here's
1 million trees!
For you. So again, about 5 years ago, we're sitting around and what can we do better? How can we help more? And we partnered with 1% for the Planet, which is a great organization that you guys are familiar with. And
sure.
And they introduced us to a not-for-profit called the National Forest Foundation, who works with the National Forest in planting trees. They identify where the need is. They create the saplings and they plant them, and then they monitor them for a year to make sure that they take and they grow.
Yeah.
And then we went the next step and said, we were inspired by Tom's, where if you buy a shoe, they give they'll donate a shoe. We weren't big enough, and we were going to a lot of events and sampling out. So we said, we'll go the next step. If you just take a picture of our box and you post it on your feed, Instagram or Facebook or what have you, and you do a hashtag Better Planet, or if you have a private account, you do an @BoxWater. Every month we go through those two streams. We count the number of boxes we see. We work with the National Forest Foundation, and we plant 2 trees.
Wow, that's great.
That's cool.
Completely for free.
That's great.
So fast forward 5 years later, we hit 1 million trees, and now we're looking to get to 2 million trees. We just did an event with a little fitness company out of Philadelphia called Unite Fitness. They have what do you call it? They have fitness centers. Well, you look at how fat I am. I've never seen a fitness center. So I hear they're popular. I hear people actually work out at them.
I see gorgeousness.
Gorgeous
I see
Rob.
beauty. I see a wonderful person.
Yes.
Two tickets to the gun show.
Yeah, that's right.
But they just planted 800 trees over the weekend with their group, because they did a challenge that for the last month, if you work out, if you set your goal, and if you hit your goal, we'll plant 2 trees in your honor. So we just tallied up 800 more.
Well, that's great.
So I'm sorry again. You told me I could rant. So we're reforestation, planting trees. We also clean beaches. Our goal is to clean 3,000 miles, which is the distance from coast to coast of beaches. Yeah. So we facilitate beach cleanups in our major markets, but we also work with our brand partners, and we'll do beach cleanups with them. And we also sponsor a not-for-profit called the Ocean Blue Project. They actually full time go around and clean beaches, not during COVID, but they go around and they'll clean a couple hundred beaches every year and
great.
Coordinate that.
Do you ever work with the Echo Warrior?
I have not worked. No, I haven't.
He's our beach cleaner.
Yeah, we love that guy. He was on the show a couple weeks ago. James Prebrum. He's the Echo Warrior, and he does a lot of beach cleanups. And he's a cool surfer dude out here on the West Coast, and a friend of the show.
Yeah, we could talk about
Get me in contact. I love that. That's what we do.
Absolutely, we will. We'll put you guys in touch.
Will.
Yeah, and and Ugly Animals we support.
We support Ugly Animals. We supported Arbor Day Foundation.
Yeah.
Nice. We do some ocean conservancy.
Yeah, we do.
So.
Yep, I saw that on your site.
We try to pitch in where we can. We try to do unusual. We like kind of being
the weird ones.
We kind of like being the weirdos. The do it like from a different angle, like pirate planting, right? Like you buy a tree and then you find a spot like by a river somewhere where there's not, and you just plant it without telling anyone. Permission. Right? Yeah.
Save the axolotl.
Yeah.
That's.
I like the pirate planting. I like that. That's a good idea.
But that's awesome, and that's what you got to do, right? That's the world we live in.
Yeah.
That's if you want to survive going into the future with the people who are coming, you've got to care.
Absolutely.
You got to do something that's right. And and it's
so
cool
we're really glad
because
that you care. It's exciting that Boxwater cares. You're doing so much, and we're stoked to. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure to have you today and to chat through this. I don't want to cut you off. I think we're running past our bedtime here.
Are we?
Are we really? I didn't know how long.
No,
I'm sorry.
No, you can't. It's
been an hour and a half.
Don't you apologize? Don't you ever apologize?
Is there anything that you'd like to close out on? I can see he's modeling his Boxwater is better.
Go to our website. Go to boxwaterisbetter.com.
And then hashtag if they want to make a tree happen, they buy the box. Go one more time. Run us through that so that we know.
Buy the box, take a picture, post it on Instagram, let's say, and do either hashtag Better Planet or at Boxed Water. Either way, we'll see it in your comment area, and we'll plant 2 trees. And all of that is on our website, along with 1 million. We have 10 years worth of information about plastic pollution, aluminum pollution, why we're better, and lots of fun things you can buy to do your own beach cleanups and whatnot. So
that's terrific.
That's great.
And here's what makes me really happy is you guys talk about one small change can make a big difference. Again, we're this small little nothing company in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and simply by having individuals take a box and take a picture, we've gotten up to 1 million trees.
That's great.
To me, that's huge. That's like building a forest 1 tree at a time.
Yeah.
So
that's wonderful.
I love it.
So thank you guys for helping spread the message.
Yeah. I will never buy a plastic bottle. I mean, I think we already agreed to that before. But now it's official. But if I will never buy another bottle.
And we carry around. We usually have our drinking bottles that we have. We have our metal bottles.
Your refillables.
But I want to get now. I want to support when next time I'm out and I'm in a situation where I need to buy a water to go. I'm going to look for the box water.
We're looking for the box water.
Yeah.
Tell Paul Rudd to just.
We'll drop a line.
Don't worry. I'm going to give him a call right after the show, and I'll say, Rob Koenen, said we should drink. I got your last name right this time. Because at the beginning of the podcast, I introduced you as Koenen, and then I heard you say Keenan, and I was like, I messed it up when I first said it.
Everybody does that.
I'm notorious for messing up last names.
Well, people look at me and they think Conan the Barbarian, right? They look like Arnold
I thought Conan
Schwarzenegger.
O'Brien.
Conan O'Brien, Conan Barbarian, all of the Conans.
One of the Episcopalian. Hey, so the other thing I was just thinking that it occurred to me now, we are refillable as well.
Oh,
so we talked to the lawyers and they said that, and we had to do a bunch of we had to do a bunch of tests.
Hilarious. It's true.
We did a bunch of tests on bacteria and they said, yeah, you guys can say you're refillable. So when you forget your Yeti or your Swell, don't buy another $40 one. Or if you're going on a trip, bring us and refill us for a week and then recycle us at the end.
I love it. There you go.
We're like a disposable refillable.
Yeah. Disposable refillable.
Perfect.
I love it. Well, this is the part of the show where we wrap up and we do our little tags. Okay. Do you want to stick around for them, or do you can say bye?
Yeah,
you want to watch
the tags.
You want to watch the tags? Okay. Now you can mute yourself, or you can just watch whatever you want to do,
or you can join in.
And okay, there it goes. Okay, we are your beacon of light in a gloomy environment,
featuring greater parasympathetic nerve activity.
More than just charismatic megafauna.
Nature is perfect. Look at eggs.
Dolphins don't quit.
We are y'all inclusive.
Don't mess with Smokey on this show. Can't win them all.
We can't win them all, but we'll win the rest.
Yeah. And then I feel like there was something that we found. Was it about the boats?
It was a good one about something to do with boats.
It was the boats.
Yeah. I don't see. This is terrible. Because
I can't think anymore.
I can't think of the boat one. There's a really good boat one. It's the best one.
It's great. So you got to go back to that episode to hear it.
We'll never say it again because we'll forget it every week.
Yeah.
But it exists. It's there.
Well,
in fact, from here on out, it's just going to be the boat one.
The boat one. So we just end the show by saying, and the boat one.
And the boat one.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us on the Biofriendly podcast. Rob Koenen from Box Water is better.
This is the most, I'm sorry to cut you off. The most important part here, Rob, at the end is we do the Muppet goodbye.
You might want to join us for that.
You should definitely do the Muppet. So you do the wave and then.
Okay, ready? So here we go. So, 3, 2, 1.
Biofriendly podcast. It's the Biofriendly podcast.